Before we get into today's topic, if you are new here, welcome. This channel is updated every single day with the latest news, changes, and tips for Canadian pensioners. We have covered everything in simple language, no jargon, just the information you actually need. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update that could affect your pension or your pocket. Now, let's get into today's video. Here is something that might surprise you. Most Canadian seniors who file their taxes every year are still leaving hundreds, and sometimes thousands, of dollars on the table. Not because they are doing anything wrong, but simply because nobody told them about the credits they are allowed to claim. There are 7 tax credits specifically designed for people in your situation, credits for your age, your health, your home, and even your role as a caregiver. And the majority of seniors either do not know they exist or assume they do not qualify. Today, I'm going to walk you through every single one of them in plain, simple language. And I want to flag something right now that I will come back to later. There is one credit on this list that can actually be claimed going back 10 years. If you have missed it, you may be entitled to a refund check that could be in the thousands of dollars, so please stay with me all the way through because that one alone could be worth the full length of this video. Welcome. My name is Naim, and today we are talking about 7 tax credits that are available to Canadian seniors in 2026. Credits that are completely legal, completely yours to claim, and almost universally underused. Whether you file your own taxes or someone helps you, I encourage you to watch this video and then go through the list with your tax preparer. You may be shocked at what you have been missing. We are going to cover credits for simply being over 65, for pension income, for medical expenses, for disability, for renovating your home to stay safe, for caring for a loved one, and for property taxes depending on your province. Let us get into it. The first credit is one of the most straightforward and one of the most missed simply because people do not realize it exists. It is called the age amount. If you are 65 or older by the end of the tax year, the government allows you to claim a credit just for being that age. In 2026, that base amount is just over $9,000. Now, this does not mean you get $9,000 back in cash. It means you get a credit calculated at the lowest federal tax rate, and the result is a direct reduction of up to about $1,300 off your tax bill. That is real money, and it costs you nothing to claim except making sure it is on your return. There is one thing to know. If your income is above a certain level, around $46,000 a year, this credit starts to reduce. And if your income is quite high, it may phase out entirely. But for the majority of Canadian seniors living on CPP, OAS, and modest savings, this credit is fully available and often fully missed. Here's a nice bonus. If you cannot use the full credit yourself because your income is too low, any unused portion can be transferred to your spouse. So even if you personally do not owe much tax, your partner may be able to use what you cannot. That is a planning opportunity worth discussing with whoever helps you with your taxes. Does this credit appear on your most recent tax return? If you are not sure, that is the first thing worth checking. Now let us talk about the second credit, RRIF, and this one comes with a very common misconception that costs a lot of seniors money. It is called the pension income amount. The idea is simple. If you receive certain types of pension income, you can claim a credit on the first $2,000 of it. That works out to a $300 reduction in your federal taxes every single year. $300 that should be in your pocket. Here is the misconception. Many people assume that their CPP and OAS count as pension income for this credit. They do not. CPP and OAS are excluded. The income that qualifies includes money from a company pension, payments from a RRIF, which is a registered retirement income fund, or income from an annuity. If you are receiving any of those, make sure this credit is being claimed. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. What if you do not have a company pension and your RRIF withdrawals are 0 because you have not converted your RRSP yet? There is actually a strategy for this. If you are between 65 and 71, you can convert a small slice of your RRSP into a RRIF, just enough to withdraw $2,000 a year. That withdrawal qualifies for this credit. You pay a small amount of tax on the $2,000, but the credit offsets most or all of it. You are essentially getting $300 back in federal tax savings at almost no cost. It is a quiet little move that very few people know about, and it is completely legitimate. The third credit on our list is one that almost every senior has heard of, but very few actually claim to its full potential. It is the medical expense tax credit. Here's the challenge with this one. The government sets a threshold. You can only claim the medical expenses that go above 3% of your income, or just under $3,000, whichever is lower. So if your medical bills are not particularly high, you might assume there is nothing to claim. But here is the thing. Most people are only counting their prescription drugs and doctor's visits. They are missing a long list of eligible expenses that the CRA allows: hearing aid batteries, dental work not covered by insurance, the premium you pay for travel medical insurance when you travel outside Canada. If you have celiac disease, you can even claim the extra cost of buying gluten-free food compared to regular food. These all count. And here is one that genuinely surprises people. If you live in a smaller community and you have to travel more than 40 kilometers one way to receive medical care that is not available locally, you can claim the cost of that travel. If the trip is more than 80 kilometers each way, you can also claim meals and accommodation along the way. For seniors in rural communities especially, this can add up to a meaningful amount over a year. The key is to keep every receipt. Put them in an envelope. At tax time, add them all up and see where you stand. Many seniors who thought they had nothing to claim discover they have quite a bit once they look carefully. Now here's the credit I promised at the beginning, the one that can go back 10 years. This is the disability tax credit, and it is one of the most powerful and most underused credits in the entire Canadian tax system. Let me be clear about something first, because this is where a lot of people stop reading or listening. You do not have to be in a wheelchair to qualify. You do not have to have a terminal illness. The disability tax credit applies to anyone with a severe and prolonged impairment that significantly restricts their ability to perform basic daily activities. That includes vision problems, serious hearing loss, difficulty walking, chronic pain that makes everyday tasks very hard, mental health conditions that affect daily functioning, even a combination of smaller issues that together add up to a significant restriction. In 2026, the federal disability amount is just over $10,000. The tax credit on that amount is significant. It can reduce your federal taxes by well over $1,500 per year. But here's the part I really need you to hear. If you have been living with an impairment for several years, even many years, and you have never applied for this credit, you can ask the CRA to go back and adjust your tax returns for up to 10 previous years. That means if you qualified for the disability tax credit for the past decade and never claimed it, you could receive a refund check covering all those missed years. For some people, that is a 5-figure amount arriving in the mail. I have heard from seniors who received $8,000, $12,000, even $15,000 in retroactive refunds simply because they finally sat down and applied. To apply, a medical professional, a doctor, nurse practitioner, or specialist needs to complete a form called the T2201. Your doctor fills out their section, you submit it to the CRA, and they review it. If approved, the credit goes on your return going forward, and you can request the retroactive adjustment for past years at the same time. If you think there is any chance this applies to you, any chance at all, please look into it. It costs nothing to apply. The worst that can happen is the CRA says no. The best that can happen could change your financial situation meaningfully. Now, let us talk about the fifth credit, which is one that has become increasingly important as more seniors choose to stay in their own homes rather than move to a care facility. It is called the Home Accessibility Tax Credit. If you have made renovations to your home to make it safer or more accessible, you may be able to claim 15% of those costs, up to $20,000 worth of work, as a tax credit. The maximum credit works out to $3,000 per year. What counts? Walk-in bathtubs and roll-in showers, grab bars and handrails in bathrooms and hallways, wheelchair ramps, wider doorways for mobility aids, better lighting for safety, non-slip flooring, stair lifts. These are all eligible. Let me paint a picture. Think of a couple. Let us call them Jim and Eleanor. Eleanor has been having some trouble with her balance after a health episode last year. Jim had a walk-in shower installed and grab bars put in throughout the bathroom and hallway. The total cost was about $8,000. They had no idea they could claim 15% of that on their tax return. That is $1,200 back that they simply did not know about. And here is something really useful. Some of these renovations also qualify under the medical expense tax credit we just talked about. The government actually allows you to claim the same renovation under both credits in some situations. That means a single improvement to your home can give you twice the tax relief. Your tax preparer should be able to identify which expenses qualify for both. The sixth credit is one that a lot of people carry the weight of every single day, but never think to claim on their taxes. It is the Canada Caregiver credit. If you are supporting a spouse or a family member, an elderly parent, a sibling, or another dependent who has a physical or mental impairment that makes them dependent on others for daily living, you may be entitled to claim this credit. In 2026, the amount can be up to $8,600 for a spouse or eligible dependent. Here is something important. The person you are caring for does not need to be severely disabled the way the disability tax credit requires. A doctor simply needs to confirm in writing that this person requires assistance due to an impairment. That is a much lower bar than many people expect. Think about how many Canadian seniors are quietly caring for a partner with arthritis so severe they cannot cook or clean, or an aging parent who lives with them and needs help getting around, or a sibling who moved in after a stroke. These are caregiving situations that qualify, and in most cases, the family members providing that care have never once thought to mention it on a tax return. If any of this sounds familiar, please bring it up the next time you sit down with someone who helps you file. It is worth asking. The seventh and final credit on our list depends on where you live, but for those it applies to, it can add up to real money every year. Many provinces offer specific tax grants and credits for senior homeowners that are separate from the federal credits we have already discussed. These are not automatic. They require you to make a specific claim on the provincial portion of your tax return. And because of that, many seniors simply never claim them. In Ontario, for example, there is a grant for senior homeowners with low to moderate incomes that can provide up to $500 per year. There is also a credit that helps with energy bills and property taxes that can be worth over $1,400 annually. In Alberta, the province recently reduced the income thresholds for its seniors benefit program, which means some Albertans who qualified last year may no longer qualify this year. If you live in Alberta and rely on that benefit, it is worth checking the new numbers carefully. The lesson across all provinces is the same. Do not assume that what you received last year is automatic this year, and do not assume that because you have not claimed a provincial credit before, you are not entitled to it. Talk to your tax preparer and ask specifically about provincial senior credits in your area. The 5 minutes it takes to ask that question could be worth several $100s. Let us bring all 7 of these together before we close, because I want to make sure you leave with something clear and actionable. Number 1, the age amount. If you are 65 or older, claim it. Transfer any unused portion to your spouse. Number 2, the pension income amount. If you receive RRIF, annuity, or company pension income, make sure that $2,000 credit is on your return every year. Number 3, the medical expense tax credit. Keep your receipts all year, include travel costs for medical appointments, and do not underestimate what qualifies. Number 4, the disability tax credit. If you have any significant physical or mental impairment, apply. It can go back 10 years and the refund can be substantial. Number 5, the home accessibility tax credit. If you have renovated for safety or accessibility, claim 15% of those costs. Some expenses count under medical expenses too. Number 6, the Canada Caregiver credit. If you support a spouse or family member with an impairment, this credit may be available to you and is frequently missed. And number 7, your provincial credits. Ask specifically about what your province offers for senior homeowners and low-income seniors. Do not leave it to chance. 7 credits, all of them legal, all of them yours to claim, and together they could add up to thousands of dollars that currently belong to you but are sitting uncollected. The most important thing you can do right now is bring this list to whoever helps you file your taxes. Or if you file on your own, go through each one carefully before you submit. And remember, the April 30th deadline is the master trigger for so many of your benefits. File on time, claim everything you are entitled to, and protect every dollar you have worked so hard to build. If this video helped you see something on your tax return that you may have been missing, I would love for you to share it with a friend or family member who is in the same situation. So many Canadian seniors file their taxes every year and never realize what they are leaving behind. One conversation or one video can change that. And if you are not subscribed yet, please do. We post new videos every single day covering Canadian pension updates, benefit changes, tax tips, and practical financial guidance for seniors, all in plain, simple language. Tap subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video that could put more money back in your pocket. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you tomorrow. Hey,